Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we have been vindicated once again. WHAM formed nearly 5 years ago to combat the fluoridation of tap water. Fluoride is a byproduct of aluminum and phosphate mining and smelting, and the hydrofluorosilicic acid we have in our tap water in places like Winnipeg, Toronto, throughout the United States is toxic waste. Aluminum companies finding ways to rid themselves of their waste for profit by the hand of the state. The industrial fluoride that we find in our tap water is not the same as the medical grade fluoride we find in our toothpaste. People need to wear hazmat suits to put it in the water. The government claims that there is a very small level in the water, but meanwhile they measure it by its lowest level and state it's the total parts per million found in the average person's tap water. Even if you don't drink the water, you are poisoned by it through the pores in your skin when you take a shower or a bath. All exports from cities and towns that have fluoride in the tap water are contaminated by fluoride. It's forced medication by the government and the corporations the government works with. It's literally fascism. The government's excuse? It's to stop cavities and tooth decay in poor children whose parents can't afford toothpaste. Meanwhile, the cavity rate is much higher in places like Toronto than it is in places like Vancouver, where there is no fluoride in the water. We at WHAM put forward a cease and desist in 2013 against the city of Winnipeg, citing countless scientific studies showing what it does to a child's brain, how it leads to brain cancer, Alzheimer's, and a whole host of other horrible ailments. The city laughed it off. The mainstream media mocked us and cut up our words when we warned about it all over television in 2013. University professors claimed we had no scientific evidence when we provided nearly 100 years of scientific evidence, including studies which looked at fluoridated versus non-fluoridated cities throughout the United States over 20 years. As 34-year National Cancer Institute veteran Dr. Dean Burke, PhD, said, and I quote, "In point of fact, fluoride causes more human cancer death and causes it faster than any other chemical." We provided Harvard studies, Yale studies, stacks of documents, historical context including the use of industrial fluoride by Hitler in concentration camps, the use of fluoride as the main ingredient in rat poison, the effect fluoride has on salmon and other fish life, and most importantly, the effect on a child's brain and IQ. Well, these morons aren't laughing anymore. This past week, countless mainstream medias have come out with an admission of guilt following recent studies that have actually grabbed people's attention. CNN, National Post, CTV have all covered it, incredulously. As CTV in Canada reports, higher levels of fluoride in urine linked to lower IQ scores in children. As the article reads, a new study that has found a link between fluoride levels in pregnant women and lower intelligence in their children may provide further ammunition for those who are calling that practice into question. In the first study of its kind, and side point, that's not true. We've reported on countless studies from places like Harvard in the past, and remember, it's mainstream media. They report suggestively and deceptively. Anyway, going back, in the first study of its kind, investigators at the University of Toronto, McGill, the Harvard School of Public Health, and other institutions have found a link between fluoride in the urine of pregnant women and lower measures of intelligence in children. In the study released Tuesday in the journal Environmental Health Perspectives, the researchers say they looked at 287 pairs of mothers and children in Mexico City at multiple stages of neurodevelopment. The study recruited pregnant women from 1994 to 2005, taking urine samples from the mothers during pregnancy and from their children between 6 and 12 years of age to assess their exposure to fluoride. They then analyzed how fluoride in the pregnant mother's urine related to measures of intelligence. Those measures included the children's verbal abilities at age 4 as well as their perceptual performance, memory, and motor abilities. They were tested again for the same thing between the ages of 6 and 12. The researchers found a statistically significant connection between high levels of fluoride in the mothers when they were pregnant and lower scores on these intelligence measures. There was no link between the child's own urinary fluoride levels and their test scores. Dr. Howard Hughes, not to be mistaken with the late great Howard Hughes, the study's lead investigator and a professor of environmental health epidemiology and global health at U of T's Dalla Lana School of Public Health, says the fact that the fluoride levels in the mothers was most predictive of the drop in test scores may be due to the fact that the brains of babies develop so rapidly while they are in utero. In quotations, this is consistent with a growing appreciation in environmental health that the growing fetal nervous system is more sensitive to exposures than a developed nervous system, he told ctvnews.ca by phone from Sydney. Back when they started that study, no one was worried about fluoride, Dr. Hughes says. Again, untrue, millions have opposed it throughout the world, and cities have been forced to apologize to citizens for fluoridating the water when they were petitioned to take it out. Dr. Hughes says some research has suggested the fluoride may interfere with the cell messenger neurotransmitters. Studies on mice suggest it can accumulate in the hippocampus, an area of the brain important to learning and memory. Dr. Hughes notes those studies tested fluoride at much higher than humans would receive in fluoridated water, but he says those studies open the door to seeing fluoride as a neurotoxicant. The levels of exposure are higher, but there is now a rationale for expecting that it may also be toxic at lower levels, he said. Again, there has been evidence for decades, and not only that, but once again, they measure the levels of fluoride in the water by its lowest point, when in some cases, the levels are 10 to 20 times higher. So while mainstream media like CTV continues to deceive people while admitting to facts that they arrogantly mocked people like myself for just a couple years ago, it's more important than ever for people to stand up against this practice. We recently sat down with Todd McDougall of Winnipeg Alternative Media, the former media I co-founded before World Alternative Media, and Todd had recently made a complaint alongside Trevor Adams of Fluoride Free Winnipeg to the Manitoba Human Rights Commission in Canada. They responded saying it wasn't a breach of human rights and doesn't qualify as a complaint. Todd and Trevor are now no longer allowed to resubmit a complaint to the commission. Let's remember that the US government still to this day doesn't see asbestos as unsafe to human health. This is despite more than a century of terrible illnesses arising from the use of asbestos. But despite this, it's public knowledge today that asbestos is bad, so it's not often used. But don't forget the decades that people laughed at those who said it was unsafe. Of course, there's no doubt that government won't fix the problems of government. It's kind of like running in a circle hoping that you'll eventually run straight. But individuals and public demand still have an effect, and I plead with people to utilize that demand and educate others. Be loud, stand for your individual liberties as the state poisons your children. This is forced medication by the state. How can anybody be in favor of that? Stay tuned as we continue to cover this issue. Thank you everyone for watching, and until next time, this is Josh Searton signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Now to sound like an auctioneer. Thanks for watching everyone. Check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we are so vastly demonetized and censored by YouTube as they bring in the Anti-Defamation League to flag all of our content as hate speech. Also check our Bitcoin address in the description in the comments as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And don't forget to check me out at Josh Searton at Steemit.com. That's Steemit.com, the future of social media, where you get paid via cryptocurrency, Steem that is, by the upvote and demand of your post. It's bound to take out the dinosaur social media, so I hope to see you there. But until next time, check out this word from our sponsor.
Are you looking to exchange a large amount of US dollars? Don't overpay with the bank on currency exchange. Think outside the bank. Banks charge unnecessary fees of up to 3%. Truth be told, currency exchange with the bank will cost you hundreds to thousands of dollars. Start saving now. Step 1. Register online. Visit our website and click Get Started. Step 2. Book a transaction. Phone us for a quote and to complete the transaction. We'll need to know which currencies you are converting and how much. Step 3. Transfer of funds. Once you confirm the transaction, we initiate an electronic funds transfer from the account that you choose. Your purchased funds are then transferred back to you in the account that you choose within 1 business day. It's that easy. Start saving hundreds of dollars on currency exchange with CBCE. Sign up online or give us a call today.